Good evening and welcome to another webinar. This is our 26th webinar from the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia based in New Delhi. My name is Munish Gupta. I am the Secretary of the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia. And let me welcome you to this very special webinar. We are connected right now between Ontario, State of Canada and India. And we have some very special guests. I will later request my senior colleague, the President of FCC, to introduce our special guest. But let me introduce you to our fellow panelists. My friend and Vice President of the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia and Bureau Chief of AFP in South Asia, Mr. Tim Witcher, is with us, and Mr. Venkat Narayan, who is the President of the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia. This broadcast is going live on FCC and its social media platforms. Also, on People of Indian Origin PIO TV and its social media platforms, and on United News of India, which is one of the largest news networks in India, their social media platforms and their via service, as well as Glow TV in Africa. So whether you like it or not, you're going to be watched not just in India, but in many places around the world by the Indian diaspora. And particular welcome to our two diaspora friends. This is possibly a great webinar also because it is a first virtual, fully virtual, full trade mission between a country and another country. And this is Ontario State from Canada to India. So this is a great example of beating the challenge in COVID-19 times and keeping business going. What we would call today's new normal or a new paradigm. So I'll move over now quickly to Mr. Venkat Narayan to welcome our and introduce our special guests and the subject, the deeper knowledge on the subject of this evening's webinar. Venkat, please. Unmute yourself, Venkat. Venkat, unmute. Oh my God. Venkat, unmute. You have to unmute yourself. This is the bane of technology. We got to keep using your fingers all the time. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, okay, sir.
We are delighted to host the distinguished minister and two members of the Provincial Parliament of Ontario to this webinar. Thanks to technology, they are more than 10,000 kilometers away from India, but we are still able to do this because of technology. And a warm welcome to you, Minister Victor Fedeli. He is the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation, and Trade. And he is a lifelong entrepreneur, successful businessman. He's written 5 books and a philanthropist. And this is his third term as a member of the Provincial Parliament of Ontario. He is married to humor writer Patty and always wears a yellow tie. He has only 65 of them, he tells me. So I am also wearing a yellow tie to keep him company. This is, by the way, from Rome, Italy, a country of your ancestors, Mr. Fedeli. A warm welcome to you. And he also led a physical delegation last November to India with a large number of people, and this is the first time that we are doing this webinar, a virtual press conference. From tomorrow onwards, this delegation is scheduled to have a large number of meetings with industry ministries of several states, and I will leave it to the minister to give us the details. May I introduce Nina Pangari. She is a member of the Provincial Parliament of Ontario, and she is a tireless crusader for her community, has received many awards for her volunteer work, an entrepreneur and a business owner for the last 30 years. She is the parliamentary assistant to Minister Fedeli. And we have the other gentleman, Deepak Anand. He is also a member of the Provincial Parliament of Ontario, and he's a special advisor to the minister with a focus on trade relations between India and Ontario. He's the founder of Meaningful Media and has also been the provider and producer and host of Radio Sanj, a radio show. Friends, Canada is home to sixth largest number of people of Indian origin after the United States, Malaysia, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. And the first Indian immigrants went to Canada in 1904. And in the Canadian National Parliament, as many as 22 people of Indian origin are members. And, I think 4 of them are ministers in the Justin Trudeau cabinet. So that gives us an idea about how important Canada is for India. And Ontario accounts for 40% of Canada's population, and it's actually engine of growth for Canada, which is why we are hosting this special press conference, which is kind of a curtain raiser for the series of meetings Minister Fedeli and his delegation will have with their counterparts in several Indian states. I think we will invite Nina first, Munish, to speak to us, followed by Anand, then the minister.
Okay. I mean, I'll let you guys decide the order. The order that I had was Deepak would speak first and then Nina. So let's deal with what we have written up. But thank you, Venkat, for the introductions, and welcome to all of you, our dignitaries from Canada. I wish you luck before you start this this virtual trade delegation. Very interesting. I mean, to put this whole thing together with the delegates, with the business team, industry members is phenomenal. Great luck, good luck. Invite Deepak to make his comments now, and then we'll go to Nina.
Thank you so much, Manishji, and thank you, Venkatji and Tim. It is always pleasure, and it is wonderful to see the way we all have come together, especially this pandemic. Minister, thank you so much. You've been a great advocate for Ontario, And last year, I do remember when we came to India with the Minister of Economic Trade and Development, the Minister Fedeli. We call it Mananiya Mantri Mahoday. He actually had his business card in Hindi, which blown away a lot of people. And of course, Nina Tangri, she's actually my MPP as well, parliamentary assistant. So it was great to meet government officials. We met over 150 business-to-business community. Today, Ontario is well positioned to increase trade and investment with India as the second largest innovation and tech industry in North America. Talking about the ICT contribution, there are 272,000 jobs, 26 billion in GDP, 14 billion in exports to the provincial economy. So all put together, I think it is wonderful to advocate for the growth today and forever. I don't want to take a lot of time. What I want to hear is your question, and I want to communicate this directly to you that our province, under the leadership of Premier Ford and Minister Fedeli, is open for business, open for expansion. Talking about a global village, who could be a better global village than Ontario? We have people for over 150 countries, 200 plus languages. And in terms of the number of people, we talk about, a land of dreams. This is a great land of dreams. I mean, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. So with that, this virtual mission to India will connect Ontario's talented business leaders and emerging industries with India's competitive marketplace, creating jobs and path for recovery and growth. And I'm looking forward to be part of this legacy that we're going to create together. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you for those remarks. And may I now invite Nina Tangri? She's also a member of Provincial Parliament to place her remarks, and then we'll come to the minister. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Manishji, and namaste, everyone. And of course, as Ontario's Parliamentary Assistant for Economic Development, it's an honor to be here with you today. And a top priority for our government is to ensure that the province of Ontario is open for business, open for jobs, open to trade, and open to investment. But at this unprecedented time in history, it's even more important to ensure we identify international partners like India, to collaborate for our mutual economic recovery and growth. Our government has taken action to ensure Ontario is a desirable place to do business. We've lowered costs and cut red tape so that job creators have the best possible conditions to succeed. We're supporting our small and medium-sized businesses with market access and intelligence through our Ontario Trade and Investment offices in Delhi and Mumbai so that they can expand and export to India with confidence. We're providing valuable market intelligence and support services for Ontario companies. We are introducing suppliers to incoming buyers from India so that our businesses have the tools they need to diversify their trade partnerships and maximize on global opportunities. We're also giving companies access to an international talent pool through the Ontario Immigrant Nominee program so that our workforce have the skills needed to meet the demands of an evolving economic landscape. And on this virtual mission, we are directly connecting businesses in India and Ontario to create those new deals and economic growth. We can't wait to continue to build Ontario and India's strong partnership during Ontario's first virtual mission. And with that, I'll hand it over to Minister for Delhi. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. And now I request our Honorable Minister, Victor Fedeli, for Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Government of Ontario, Canada, to make his keynote remarks before we move to the interaction.
Well, thank you very much. Namaste. I want to say thank you, Manish, for having us. Tim, I'm looking forward to this as an opportunity to speak to you and everybody. And Venkat, thank you very kindly for what was a very kind introduction. And it's really great to be here today to speak about our government's very first ever virtual mission anywhere, but certainly our very first virtual mission to India. We were here last year in person with many of you. And we really look forward to being back again in the future. You know, this virtual mission, the food here in our office will not be as good as it was on our last mission to India. But throughout this mission, we'll be meeting with senior government officials and directly connecting businesses in India and Ontario. We want to create new deals to strengthen the economic corridor between our jurisdictions. Today, we as a global community and a global globally, we face new challenges as we recover from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, more than ever, it's important to explore new partnerships and opportunities to increase trade and investment that leverage our strengths in both India and here in Ontario. And we're especially looking forward to engaging with our state-level counterparts in the governments of Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Madhya Pradesh. We hope these meetings help to further strengthen ties with the province of Ontario. We've identified industries like information and communication technologies, advanced manufacturing that demonstrate a high potential for growth between Ontario and India. During the mission, a delegation of Ontario's tech industry leaders will participate virtually in the India Mobile Congress. It's the largest digital and technology forum in India and South Asia, and so they will take part in B2B meetings and networking events with hundreds of major players in the Indian telecom industry. So through our virtual meetings with top government officials and businesses in India, we will work to identify how businesses and consumers in India can benefit from Ontario's world-class reputation in ICT and manufacturing. Together, we'll promote opportunities that will attract new investment and create new jobs both here and in India. As home to the second largest innovation and tech industry in North America, we have over 20,000 tech firms operating in Ontario, employing over 320,000 highly qualified advanced technology professionals. And our welcoming approach to immigration expands our talent pool even further, with countries around the world recognizing Canada and Ontario's friendlier visa climate. When it comes to the manufacturing sector, Ontario has stable infrastructure, a well-trained workforce, tax credits, and specialized manufacturing, research, and development. Because of Ontario's business climate, we have a vibrant and diverse manufacturing sector in the province. Our strengths lie in the automotive, food processing, life sciences, aerospace, and chemical sectors, among many others. We hope to share our expertise, especially in technology and manufacturing, through collaborations with government and industry in India. This will include helping to advance India's ambitious approach toward developing smart cities of the future. As the world recovers from the global effects of COVID-19, Ontario remains open for business. We encourage Indian companies to leverage our highly skilled workforce, competitive business environment, and access to markets. Our new agency, Invest Ontario, provides high-value investors with customized tools and services that support them when they're considering investing in Ontario. Invest Ontario will focus on securing investments in 3 key areas where Ontario already has numerous competitive advantages: technology, advanced manufacturing, and life sciences. In addition, Ontario also has highly competitive business costs with some of the lowest manufacturing tax rates in all of North America. There's just no limit to what our 2 jurisdictions can do together for our mutual economic recovery and growth. Ontario and India already have a strong, mutually prosperous relationship, and this virtual mission will serve to reinforce that. Our relationship is further solidified by a deep cultural and personal connection that goes far beyond our borders. In fact, Ontario has the largest Indian community in Canada. There are nearly 900,000 people of Indian descent living here in Ontario. And in 2019, over 52,000 Indian students studied at Ontario post-secondary institutions. Ontario's Indo-Canadian community creates a natural connection for fostering trade and investment opportunities between our 2 regions. With complementary economies and common goals, there has never been a better time for Ontario and India to collaborate in business. We're very proud to lead this delegation and look forward to continuing to promote Ontario's strong, open for business, open for jobs message to the world. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you, Minister. You pretty much told us everything that you're going to do, so we will have to be smart about the questions and interaction that we now pose to you. I would start with the first question. I believe that you have set up a special sort of a scheme that to encourage startups and new companies to come in the IT sector and ICT sector to come to Ontario and start business there. Could you tell us about that? You have to unmute yourself.
I missed your first part.
You've set up a special fund. I think it's a $3.75 million fund to encourage startups and new companies to come and invest in Ontario. And is this focused on India? And what do you intend? How do you promote this? And have you had any companies come forward to participate in it?
Well, thank you very much for that question, Manish. So we have a very different group of incentives that we are offering. We have a startup ecosystem that's very strong. We have about 5,000 companies along the Toronto-Waterloo corridor alone, and that really is about 112 kilometers of innovation. And there are many Ontario programs to help with startups. The Ontario Centre of Excellence, which is now called the Ontario Centre of Innovation, supports the development of new technologies and ideas, and especially those with demonstrated commercial potential. And they are there to support and invest in those early stage projects. In the past, Ontario and India have actually partnered on a program designed to help build startup expertise in India. It's that Zone Startups India is built on the success of Digital Media Zone in Toronto, and it's part of our Ryerson Futures network. And that zone is also supported by the Department of Science and Technology in the Government of India. So that zone focuses on validating early stage technology by concentrating on early acquisition of customers. And Ontario has not only investment dollars, but valuable expertise across multiple sectors that would prove useful to Indian startups.
Wonderful. I'll move over to Tim. Tim, your question or comments?
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Minister. And
well, good morning, Tim.
In Ontario. Just to put it into an international context, I mean, like you said, everyone's going to be coming out of the pandemic very soon, and it's going to be a really tough fight, to say the least, between different countries for investment and partnerships in countries like India, which is going to be seen as one of the key countries coming out of this crisis. I mean, in the past week, President Macron of France and the British Prime Minister spoke with Prime Minister Modi about the same kind of partnerships as well. Is it going to be a fair fight?
Well, it's interesting that you say that. So what we are going to do, Tim, is really focus on the relationship that Ontario and India already have. We share a number of economic, social, cultural similarities, which makes for a set of common goals and common aspirations. Our trade is about $3.4 billion Canadian. So India is Ontario's 16th largest trading partner. We know that two-way trade continues to grow at a rate of about 10% annually. And there's about 60 Indian companies that are operating here and about 100 Ontario companies that have a presence in India. So we've got a very, very strong base to work with. There are a lot of MOUs that are between Ontario and Indian states, as well as Ontario and Indian associations like NASSCOM. With the amount of students, as I mentioned, 52,000 Indian students here and 900,000 Ontario people in Ontario of Indian origin, we think that with our friendly immigration climate and all of the business fundamentals that we put in place in the last 2 years. I mean, just for a moment, Tim, in February, pre-COVID, Ontario had 250,000 unfilled jobs. So we know that we're firing on all cylinders, and we've got a lot to offer India, and we see a lot in India that they can continue to offer. When I think about Brookfield investing in India and other companies from Ontario who continue to invest in India, I think our natural affiliation with each other will give us a bit of an advantage.
Do you think, Minister, that the permanent residency in Ontario or Canada, for that matter, is also a big lure for investors?
Yeah, I honestly do. I mean, it is. We've got an open immigration policy. We continue to make it easier to come to Ontario. We have look. Here's me talking about it. We've got Nina and Deepak, both who could probably tell you from some firsthand experience. Why don't I turn it over to you first, Nina?
Sure, please.
Yeah, Absolutely. I mean, my parents were both born in India, but moved to the UK where I was born, and I chose Canada as my home. And very much so for various reasons. One, because I saw more opportunity. I saw that it was a very safe and a clean place to live, and it's a great place to raise a family. But, you know, as time goes on, as a business person, you want to make sure that if you're going to grow or set up a business, that you're in an environment that is business friendly. Now, over the 34 years that I've been in business, there's been many different governments come and go, but none more so than our government has really made an effort to make the business climate to invest in Ontario what it is today. I mean, it's so significant that we've had interest globally all over the world where people are very much wanting to know what it would be like to own a business here in Ontario. So I think, as Minister Fedeli mentioned earlier, we're in a very good position right now, especially coming out of COVID, where we could potentially see many areas of growth. And as you've seen, our universities are some of the best in the world, and we're churning out some of the best talent, so the best brains. And when it comes to something we're looking to the future, as far as artificial intelligence, for example, our Vector Institute is globally renowned. So there's many ways for, I think, businesses to look to Ontario as a place to be, and certainly as a place to move either yourself and your family or some of your employees here. It really has a lot of opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we wanted to give you a demonstration of how India, India is doing well in technology. Anil, if you could move back to the smaller screens. I don't want to be in front. I just wanted to show everybody. You see, we've put your virtual background on our platform. So here you go. You've hijacked the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia background, and it says Ontario Virtual Mission, Ontario, Canada. So you couldn't get bigger, bolder. So yeah, I agree with you. Technology is something that's always been an area of collaboration and cooperation between India and Canada. Certainly cutting across different sectors, not just ICT and IT, but advanced manufacturing, even renewable energy, and education definitely is a big attraction for Indian students now. I think they sort of why between the US and Canada. And I know that for a fact because I'm an Indian American. So and I know how many people are today looking to migrate to Canada as well as get educated there. But I have a question from one of our fellow journalists. His name is Ayanjit Sen, and he's asking about do you? I mean, this is your first virtual mission. This is probably Canada's first virtual mission. This is probably, in regards to India, another country's first full virtual mission. I mean, you're bringing a delegation, you're attending a big conclave, you're having meetings. Uh, Going into this, what did you think? I mean, I understand this is the only way to do things during COVID times, but going into this, do you feel that this is going to be effective enough, produce the right impact, deliver the right results?
Well, it's thank you very much, Manish. It's a first ever, right? It is a fully virtual, comprehensive international ministers' mission. There's everything that we did in the past, our trips, except breaking bread together, that we're going to do here. Now, I will tell you that we've had, we participated in Farnborough and other shows, and we saw what we liked and we didn't like, so we could fashion this mission based on the challenges we saw in others. So we look, the world is going to continue to recover from COVID, and we want to make sure that we kept good on our promise to return to India. We were supposed to be in India face to face today, but we wanted to make good on that promise. So we're a world leader in creating innovative digital solutions. So as part of the pandemic, technology has made it possible for us to come back to India. So everything we managed to do during last year's in-person visit will take place. We've got 13 companies. They're going to have a half a dozen or whatever opportunities to participate in B2B meetings virtually. They're going to network with hundreds of Indian companies. So I really think events like India Mobile Congress and events hosted by the Indo-Canadian Business Chamber and the Canada-India Business Council, they're all going to be great opportunities to participate, and we look forward to doing this digitally. Look, we're going to be doing this for a while, so we need to keep doing this promotion, and B, we need to perfect how we're doing it.
A great answer, but on the issue of breaking bread, and I mean, I'm sure that Deepak and Nina can make sure that the great Indian Toronto restaurants can give you all the bread you want that you break while you're taking care of that mission virtually with India.
I wasn't
over to
kidding. We're bringing in buttered chicken tonight just to, we're doing this for the next
the
8
flavor.
days. We better get the feel of it,
I know, and we'll order some nice Canadian food here, whatever that is. Venkat, over to you. Unmute yourself, Venkat, first. Unmute.
That's very funny.
Ontario. Lately, last year, 220,000 Indian students, went to Canada for higher education because of Trump's crazy immigration policies. People are now turning to Canada as a center of education. And I know you are the third best country for education after the United States and the United Kingdom. And so far, what has been happening as far as America is concerned, every year 200,000 students go there for higher studies, about 100,000 stay back and eventually become, green card holders and citizens. The other 100,000 come back. People from India are now going to Canada, even though they have to pay 2 to 4 times more than what the Canadians pay for their education in universities. But unless Joe Biden changes the immigration policy dramatically, Canada might see a large number of Indians going. So are you equipped to accommodate all the students who might want to go to Canada? That's number one. Considering that the relationship between Canada and India has made great strides during the past 5 years, and you now have $60 billion Canadian investment in India, you have flights connecting, Air India and Air Canada connecting Toronto, Vancouver in Canada, Delhi, Bombay, and Amritsar in India. Do you have any plans to have flights from Bangalore to Toronto or Vancouver? Number one. Number two, I find there is hardly any media representation from Canada in India. CTV and Toronto Globe and Mail, once in a while they come, but considering that relations are witnessing a quantum jump, don't you think that you should encourage newspapers and television channels in your country to have bureaus in India and to get people to report about India to Canadian media? Minister?
Well, I'm just writing the third of your questions down here. Just give me one sec. So look, Ontario is not only open for business, but we're open for immigration, right? I can't speak directly to the H-1B situation in the US, but in Ontario, we believe that great ideas can come from any country. And it's why we have such a welcoming stance on immigration. Ontario is one of the most popular hubs for global talent in all of Canada. Almost 45% of all immigrants come here. We've welcomed immigrants from 150 countries. The Premier will very quickly tell you there's over 200 languages spoken here. There are a lot of federal and provincial programs available to attract international talent. In Ontario, we have the Ontario Immigrant Nominee program that allows foreign workers, international students, and others with the right skills and the right experience and education to apply for a nomination for permanent residence in Ontario. On the federal level, the Global Skills Strategy offers work permits for skilled tech talent in just 10 business days. Open work permits for spouses and study permits for dependents, also processed in 2 weeks so that families can stay together. So despite all of the COVID-19 pandemic, I got to say applications for permanent residence are still today being accepted. although the ability to review and process the applications, because most employees are working from home, is slowed down. So we would encourage anyone looking for a solution to the H-1B visa issue, consider Ontario, consider Canada as an alternative, because you won't be disappointed. You also asked about Bangalore-Toronto flights. It's interesting. Before COVID, I might get my numbers wrong, but I'll try not to. Before COVID, Air Canada flew 4 or 5 flights a day. Now, I heard just recently that they have moved, I heard a number, but then I've heard a higher number, to 9 flights a day. They have, regardless of what the number is, Air Canada today has more flights now between Canada and India today than pre-COVID, which is just a remarkable statistic. But look, it's going to take a while for the airline industry to recover. So whether they'll have direct Bangalore-Toronto flights or not is up to customer demand, but it's something that we will bring up when we're speaking with them. And your third one was about encouraging media. I don't know about the details of the media through COVID, but here in Ontario and here in Canada, our media are struggling greatly. If it wasn't for a lot of governments running full-page ads with details on how to fight COVID-19, I'm not sure there would be a lot of media that have survived. A lot of the small papers have not survived. A lot of the radio stations now are not surviving. So once we get back to business, and I believe we will, of course, all this will come to an end, and we will be back. Again, I go back to that day in February where we had 250,000 unfilled jobs in Ontario. We look forward to getting, our fundamentals have not changed, so the incentive, the impetus to get there is still there. And once that happens, we will talk about increased flights and increased media presence. Sorry, my answer was so long.
No, but you answered 3 questions, and but I would strongly recommend that Deepak ji become the media emissary between Ontario and India, having his background in the media business. Please encourage. I was surprised when Digvijay and Ravi, first your office, approached us for this presser, and my first question was that I dealt with Canadian Broadcasting Corporation long time ago, and I did a lot of programming on Rogers Cable, and I know that Canada is probably one of the front leaders in the world that encourages multicultural programming and programming from around the world. And that's sort of a big plank for Canada, but it was disheartening to see that there is no real media presence, mainstream media presence in India from Canada. And I think you should certainly work on it, because trade relations, people-to-people connectivity definitely are a byproduct of how the countries know each other.
Deepak, do you have any advice?
Yeah.
Thank you, Manish. No, it is very important. But let's put it this way. 15, 20 years back, a lot of countries didn't have India as a focus. But today, when we talk about the world economy, we talk about anything, India is one of the top 3 or 4 destinations we always talk about. So everything comes at a time. I think it is a time when everything else is coming, media is also going to look up. I just want to say a small change in what you just said. No, there is some presence. We have Rogers is one of the biggest provider here. They actually have ethnic media as part of their own arm, and they bring in the programs from India through that channel. And there are a lot of other ethnic channels who work between India and Ontario. PTC is one, ZTV is another one. So there are many channels who are working between the 2 spaces. Absolutely, there is a need for an appetite for an additional mainstream media to go in India and have their physical presence. But I think it is something which you could encourage also. And we guarantee you, when you will encourage and you will need a support, we will be there.
Okay, I put my hand up, Minister.
Thank you.
I want a portion of that $3.75 million. I will open a media office in Toronto.
So well, we may be able to help you with that.
Because I tell you today, I mean, media and technology and media, technology and content go in hand together. It's convergence today. And media could not do what it does today without technology, and technology without content is not worth anything. So that's also the new learning from COVID-19. I think people are learning the yeah.
Values that again most of our
Oh, I
colleagues
see.
are.
Anyway, I was hearing something. Um, Tim, anything more? Otherwise, I have a bunch of things that I have one question from the audience. This is an interesting question. Um, there's Ashok Arora. He's from the Supreme Court of India, and he's a member of the Foreign Correspondents Club is primarily for foreign correspondents. We have 300 of them from around the world in India, but we also take select members from the Indian media. So we have a lot of members from the domestic media, and then we have a lot of diplomats, think tanks, academia, and people from multilateral institutions and professionals. So Mr. Arora is one of our members, and he says a very interesting question. He says, "Can someone invest and employ somebody of his choice while sitting in India?" So he's talking about investment in Canada. So maybe he doesn't want to move there and take advantage of the PR, but he still wants to see if he can sit here, make an investment, pick people that will work for him in Canada, and what is the minimum investment required?
The first answer would be yes. Nina, I'm going to throw this to you, and I hope I'm not throwing you to the wolves. Do you know any detail on the minimum requirements? I always have to get my manual out when it comes to a very, very specific question. The nominee program.
Yeah, on the entrepreneur side, we did reduce them actually by half. So in the past, if you want to invest in the Greater Toronto area or Ottawa, some of the main areas, I think it was upwards of, I think it was around $600,000 to $1 million before. But we have reduced that significantly. But if you're also willing to go outside of the main areas, that's even less. I think that's come close down to, I think, $300,000. So it's not a huge investment for someone who's an entrepreneur. And absolutely, you don't have to be here to have that investment. We will take your investment quite happily. And if you're willing to employ, of course, our great talent here in Ontario, I think that would be a great win-win situation.
Yeah, and then there is the
for all
Ontario
around.
Immigrant Nominee Program, the Global Skills Strategy, and then the Startup Visa Program, and that's the one that targets the immigrant entrepreneurs and looks for them to build businesses here in Canada.
With all the focus on India, is there any sort of research or study that you or the trade missions in India have done on the potential of what you could elicit from India as investments, and how many more companies in what exactly sectors you could attract from India? I'm sure this is one of the objectives of the mission.
Yeah, when you look at our Invest Ontario, which is targeting investments, we're looking at advanced manufacturing, life sciences, and IT. This mission is really on advanced manufacturing and IT. It has a focus. It's when we look at the 13 companies that are lined up for their B2B meetings. That seems to be the focus that they are taking on, as well as the focus that we want to be involved in. I am going to tell you, and part of that comes from the story, and I have it printed in front of me because I want to get it right. This is a fascinating story of that I came away from India last year, and it just shows how much infrastructure and digital connectivity will be required in India, and why it's so important that the province of Ontario and the companies that we're bringing continue to be present in India to promote two-way trade. So that this will give you an idea of why we brought certain companies. So what we learned in India last year, that every single minute of every single day, 30 people move from rural to an urban center in India. And that's about 16 million people every year. So when we put it in our perspective in Ontario, we would have to create a new city the size of our capital, Ottawa, Ontario, every single month to accommodate that movement. So to us, the scale is mind-boggling, and it just really gives us a blank canvas when we think of India. And I think that's why we're focusing on the tech sector and with support in the advanced manufacturing sector.
Well, that's a very beautiful example. So you would have to create an Ottawa every month to account for
Yep.
the Indian migration just from rural to urban.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, but that's the market of India. You know, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and you know, India is the hugest market. And as Tim asked you that question earlier, there is a fight there's a race for this market, and many countries are running after that. But India and Canada are traditionally linked, and you're right, with the number of Indian Canadians in Ontario and the technology sector, you will see probably a, an impetus if you can push it.
Yep.
If you can push it. And you know, our question from Mr. Arora, he says he's threatening you, Nina, that he's going to come and talk to you about his investment very shortly. So look at this. We deliver you investment beyond the press conference, you know.
So I do have actual numbers. So it is, it previously was, if you wanted to invest in the GTA, it was $1 million with a net worth. You had to have a net worth of about $1.5 million. That has now changed and been reduced to 600,000 investment with a net worth of only 800,000. But like I said before, if you're willing to go outside of the GTA area, the Greater Toronto area, then your investment is only $200,000 and a net worth of $400,000. So we really have made it much more attractive than what it was in the past. So I look forward to having a great conversation with you as well.
You know, let me give you one statistic, Minister, in response to what you just said earlier. You know, let's draw analogies and parallels here. You know, the number of people in India who can invest $200,000 and have a 400,000 net worth will probably be more than the population of Canada itself. So that's the size and scope of what we are looking at. But Venkat, I think Venkat has a question and a comment.
Minister, I wanted to bring to your notice something I experienced during a visit to Vancouver a couple of years ago. You know, when I got into a taxi at the Vancouver airport, the guy who was driving me to the Hilton had brown skin like mine. So I asked him, where are you from? So he said, can you guess? I said, you must be either from India or Pakistan or Sri Lanka, you know, South Asia. He said, no, I'm from Nagpur in Maharashtra in India. And I said, you came all the way to Canada to drive a taxi? Then he told me that he is an MBBS doctor. He has his degree from an Indian university, and he went to Canada in the hope of, getting a job. But after going there, he found that he had to pass a different examination to gain a recognition and to get a job. And he told me, sir, the best educated people, taxi drivers, they are, only in Vancouver. So I was quite surprised.
We have a little problem.
Sorry, did I lose you?
No, we have a little problem with your connectivity. Now you're better. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I find that the medical doctors in Canada are very unionized, and they don't let doctors from other countries gain recognition. You know, some of the best doctors in the United States are from India. The best doctors in the UK, you find they are from India. How come there is such discrimination against
Okay, you got the question.
would you consider taking it up to the government to do something about this, Minister?
Well, thank you very much, Venkat, for the question. It's always been our requirement that you need an Ontario license, an Ontario medical license to practice medicine. You need a nurse's certification to be a registered nurse. So all of these are the requirements that we have in Ontario. It's something that I will continue to speak with our Ministry of Health about, but it is, while we do understand the standards and training do differ in many countries, that there is world expertise in each country as well, and that is just something that I will continue to speak with our ministry about. But we do have requirements for certification here in Ontario in order to practice medicine, and basically in many fields, whether it's engineering or other practices. There are certain boards and certain requirements that will be necessary to have.
I think, but it's a standard practice between between countries. Even if you move to the US from India, you have to go through the US MLE certification, and in the UK it's PLAB. So unless you clear those examinations written and then you do the clinical assessment skills, I remember having to go through this with my wife then in the US. It was a long and arduous process, and she had to do it all over again. But so be it if you want to move. Let me ask you one more question before, unless Tim, do you have something you wanted to ask? I believe.
So just to go back to the migration question, after COVID, how much do you think it will increase into Ontario?
Well, Ontario has always had the lion's share of immigration. When we think about all of the new immigrants that come to Canada, 45% of them do end up here in Ontario. So we know that, again, I'll go back to a year ago, February, when we had 250,000 unfilled jobs in Ontario. We led the nation in job creation. And one of the solutions, one of our ways that we expected to achieve success for our companies was through immigration. We believe in fair, honest, just open immigration. And we expected to fill a lot of these jobs through immigration. And that's why we've continued to spend so much time on focusing on immigration and training. We invest a tremendous amount of money into job training. Even right now, through COVID, we have a new program. It's $181 million, and it's to help those most affected by COVID-19 get a job in areas of the future where we'll need employees. So if you look in the hospitality and tourism sectors, it was the first hit, the hardest hit. It's going to be the longest to recover, according to our Minister of Heritage and Sport and Tourism Culture. So we are developing programs right now and investing money right now in training of people in those sectors for jobs that we know we are going to need. So we will always have that open immigration, Tim. And Deepak, you wanted to weigh in on it?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Minister. So I was looking at the data. As per the data, it's going to be 1 million people, 1 million immigrant in next 3 years. That's the number. So last year it was 319,000, but going forward about 361,000 in 2022 and 421,000 in 223. So it's about 1 million more people in next 3 years.
Well, that's quite a number. As part of every trade and investment mission, it's a two-way traffic. I mean, countries, particularly post-COVID-19, are looking at self-reliance inwardly. They want manufacturing in their countries, and so is India. So while you're attracting people to come to Canada with the lure of permanent residency, and of course, a developed country, a lot of Indians would look to go there and set up businesses too. I'm sure that India expects also that the Canadian companies will invest in certain sectors in India. So there'll be a cross investment across. So what are those areas of investment, if any, you have identified or your trade delegation has identified for India, and which states are you talking to in that regard?
Well, in the infrastructure, you know, the story that I told about how much infrastructure that you need, that little anecdote that I told, that
Right.
tells us that this is a really good example of why Brookfield is there. I mean, they own the largest privately held road network in India. That's an Ontario company. We see companies like OpenText, McCain Foods, Sun Life Financial. These are all Ontario companies who have big presence, whether it's food processing or tech. So they continue to look for the opportunities. You know, I talked to one of your states recently who have a relatively new international airport in their state, and they're looking for a large MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility. And I have been looking around Ontario for an Ontario MRO that's big enough and has the horsepower to be able to go there. So I think wherever there's an opportunity, you'll find Ontario companies there, not just companies like Formglass, who went over and built that fabulous ceiling at one of the airports in Mumbai. Not just like that, but have a presence like McCain's, who are processing there.
Okay. Venkat, any more comments and questions from you? We can't hear you, Venkat.
The sky is the limit as far as business between India and Canada is concerned. And Minister, if you have 250,000 jobs going in your country, we produce enough engineers and doctors and IT specialists. In Silicon Valley is populated by Indian, venture capitalists and all that. You only have to look to India to get all these people you are looking for, because every fifth human being on the planet happens to be an Indian, and we have something like more than 40 million Indians scattered all over the world in more than 150 countries. But it's very, as an Indian, I feel very happy that Ontario has decided to kind of undertake this mission, virtual mission, even at the height of coronavirus. And you have approached us to reach out to the global media audience to talk about trade relations between India and Ontario. We want to thank you, and we wish your mission all the best. And at the end of the mission, about your achievements, what has been possible, how many deals you have signed and all that, if you want to share that with our audience, we'll be very happy to host you at the end of your virtual mission to India, Minister.
Thank you very much. You know, we had a very successful face-to-face trip last year. We had some really, really good announcements, some good companies that ended up here, some good investments into India. We still look at the relationship between Ontario and India as a blank canvas. This is the picture is far, far, far from being painted. Our two-way trade is important, but it's still nowhere near as large as it should be. And that's why we want to continue. We want incoming missions from India as well, so we can assist them. And so thank you, Venkat, for the opportunity and invitation. And we'd always be delighted to share our successes and our stories, challenges that we've learned along the way as well.
Well, thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Nina, and thank you, Deepak, for joining us for this curtain raiser session before you start your virtual mission to India. And as Venkat said, please please let us know. If I'm sure that you'll track some success, but please let us know if you want to come and talk to us about what you've done as part of this virtual mission, because it'll be very interesting. First virtual mission between countries, between Ontario and India, and a full one at that. We'd love to see what the outcome is, and where we can go with this. And good luck with your meetings. And hope one of the objectives, Deepak ji, I give this task to you. Hope one of the objectives that you make in the coming year is that you'll bring more mainstream media from Canada and plant them, even if you have to, as part of your High Commission in India. We'll give them, or we'll give them space at FCC if they need space to work out of. But let's do that. And thank you very much again. Thank you, Tim, for joining us. Tim from Bureau Chief of South Asia for AFP. Thank you, Venkat, and thanks to our partner television and media channels, PIO TV, UNI, and Glow TV, and as well as to all the members of FCC who have been watching us. And we look forward to an interaction again soon. Good morning. Have a great day, and have a great visit to India. Yeah, Venkat, you want to say?
Bring some ice wine when you come to India physically next time. Share it with our people.
All right, Nina will pack our bags with ice wine.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We will